Somewhere in northwest Iran, about 170 families wake up every morning inside a volcano. Not next to one. Inside one. Their homes are carved directly into 700-year-old volcanic rock, stacked on top of each other like a giant beehive, and the walls keep them cool in summer without a single air conditioning unit. 1,000 kilometers south, in Kerman province, another group of families lives in hand-carved caves that have been continuously occupied for over 3,000 years. Some archaeologists say 12,000. And on a foggy mountainside in the north, there's a village where your neighbor's roof is literally your front yard, where cars have been banned for 1,000 years, and where the local language is so ancient it was once spoken across an entire empire. Iran has over 60,000 villages, and the ones the world never sees are the ones worth seeing most. When people think of Iran, they think of Tehran's traffic, Isfahan's mosques, or the ancient ruins of Persepolis. Fair enough. Those places are stunning. But Iran is a massive country, roughly 3 times the size of France, and beyond the cities is a rural world that has barely changed in centuries. Villages built into cliffsides, communities that still speak languages from the Sassanid dynasty, settlements where the architecture itself is a survival strategy. And unlike the famous cave dwellings of Cappadocia in Turkey, which are mostly empty tourist attractions now, the villages we're about to visit are still alive. People are raising kids in them, herding sheep through them, making tea inside rock walls their great-great-grandparents carved by hand. To understand how these places exist, you have to understand something about Iran's geography. The country sits on a massive plateau ringed by mountain ranges, the Zagros in the west, the Alborz in the north, and vast deserts in the center and east. For thousands of years, communities formed in the valleys, the mountain slopes, and even inside the mountains themselves. Each village adapted to whatever the land gave them, and that adaptation produced some of the most unusual human settlements on Earth. Let's start with the one that looks like it belongs on another planet. About an hour's drive from the city of Tabriz, in Iran's far northwest corner, a cluster of cone-shaped volcanic rocks rises out of a green valley at the foot of Mount Sahand. From a distance, it looks like a giant termite colony, or a collection of oversized beehives stacked together. But look closer, and you start to see the windows, the doorways, the clotheslines, the satellite dishes. This is Kandovan, and those beehives are actually homes. The locals call them karan, which roughly translates to beehive in the local Turkic dialect. Each one has been hollowed out of the volcanic rock by hand, using hammers, chisels, and picks. The interiors are surprisingly comfortable. Thick volcanic walls act as natural insulation, keeping rooms cool in summer and warm during the brutal winters when snow blankets the Sahand Mountains. Most homes have 2 to 4 floors connected by narrow staircases carved inside the rock, with small windows punched through for light and ventilation. Now, here's what makes Kandovan different from similar places like Cappadocia. Those Turkish cave dwellings have been converted into boutique hotels and Instagram backdrops. The actual residents left decades ago. But in Kandovan, around 117 families still live in the caves full-time. Kids play football in the shadow of rock towers. Shepherds bring their flocks through the same paths their ancestors used. Women hang laundry in the sun between structures that were carved during the era of Genghis Khan. Because that's the origin story. According to local tradition, the village was founded roughly 700 years ago when refugees fleeing the Mongol invasion discovered that the soft volcanic rock from Mount Sahand's ancient eruptions was easy to carve. They burrowed in to hide from the advancing army. And then they just stayed. Mount Sahand is a dormant volcano that was active for over 11 million years. When it finally went quiet, it left behind massive deposits of volcanic ash and tuff. Over thousands of years, water erosion carved the ash into the cone shapes you see today. The first settlers simply finished what nature started. The village does have a hotel now, the Kandovan Lala Rocky Hotel, which is literally carved into the cliff face and is supposedly the only 5-star rock hotel in the world. Tourism is growing. But walk past the tea houses near the river and you'll find that daily life here still revolves around farming, beekeeping, and tending livestock. The honey, by the way, is supposed to be incredible. Bees feed on wildflowers in the Isfahan valleys, and locals have been keeping hives in the rocks for generations. But Kandovan, as remarkable as it is, isn't even Iran's oldest inhabited cave village. That title goes to a place most people have never heard of. In the sun-baked mountains of Kerman province in central Iran, there's a settlement that makes Kandovan look like new construction, Meymand, a village of hand-carved caves that has been continuously inhabited for somewhere between 3,000 and 12,000 years, depending on which archaeologist you ask. Stone engravings found nearby date back 10,000 years. Pottery fragments from the site go back at least 6,000. In 2015, UNESCO added Meymand to its World Heritage List. 10 years earlier, the village won the Melina Mercouri International Prize for safeguarding its cultural landscape. And when you visit, you understand why people felt compelled to protect it. The homes here are called quiches, over 400 of them, stacked 2 to 5 stories high, with roughly 2,500 rooms total. Every single one was carved by hand using sharpened stones found in the surrounding hills. No mortar, no concrete, no building materials at all, just human hands and rock. The doorways are deliberately short. You have to duck to enter. Inside, each quiche has an entrance hall, a living room, several rooms, and even a stable for animals. Niches are carved into the walls for storing dishes, lamps, and bedding. In the center of the main room, a stone stove serves for both cooking and heating. But here's the thing that makes Meymand truly unusual. The people who live here aren't just cave dwellers, they're semi-nomadic. They divide their year into 3 phases. The first 4 months, they travel with their livestock across mountain pastures. The next 4 months, they tend orchards of walnuts, almonds, grapes, and pears in the valleys around the village. And the final 4 months of the year, when winter sets in, they retreat into their cave homes. This cycle has repeated for thousands of years, and the people here still speak a form of Middle Persian, the language of the Sassanid Empire, which ruled Iran from roughly 224 to 651 AD. Words that disappeared from the rest of Iran over 1,000 years ago are still used in casual conversation in Meymand. The origin of the village is tied to Mithraism, an ancient religion born in Persia centuries before Islam arrived. Followers of Mithras considered mountains sacred, which is why they carved their homes and prayer spaces directly into the rock. Over time, what started as religious retreats became permanent settlements. Today, somewhere between 130 and 150 people live in the village year-round. There's a mosque carved from the rock with pillars that look like they grew out of the ground. There's a school. There's even a guest house where visitors can sleep inside the caves, on felt carpets, with beds carved into the walls. The women of Meymand are known for their handicrafts. They shear wool from their own sheep, turn it into felt, and make hats, rugs, and kilims that are considered some of the finest in Kerman province. Basket weaving using branches from wild almond trees is another tradition that survived here. It would be easy to romanticize this as a frozen-in-time kind of place. But the reality is more complicated. Young people are leaving for cities. The population is shrinking. UNESCO recognition brings attention and some funding, but it also brings the challenge of tourism potentially changing the very thing that makes Meymand special. For now, though, life continues the way it has for millennia. The caves stay cool in summer and warm in winter. The sheep need herding. The almonds need harvesting. And every evening, the same mountains that sheltered the first inhabitants still glow orange at sunset. But Iran's village surprises don't stop underground. Now we go north, to the lush green mountains of Gilan province, where the Alborz range meets the Caspian Sea. And everything changes. Gone is the dry, sun-baked landscape of central Iran. This is Iran's greenbelt, where warm, moist air from the Caspian crashes into the mountains and dumps rain and fog across everything. The forests here, called the Hyrcanian forests, are a UNESCO World Heritage Site on their own, dating back millions of years. And tucked into these misty slopes, about an hour from the city of Rasht, is Masuleh. From below, it looks like the buildings are stacked on top of each other like a child's blocks. And that's essentially what's happening. The village is built on a mountain slope so steep that the roof of one house literally serves as the courtyard and walkway for the house above it. When you walk through Masuleh, you're simultaneously walking on someone's roof. The entire village is a vertical maze of narrow cobblestone alleys, steep staircases, and wooden balconies draped with flowers. And because of the layout, cars have been banned here since before cars existed. The streets are simply too narrow and too steep for anything with wheels. Masuleh was founded around 1006 AD. The original settlement was about 6 kilometers away, but after disease and attacks from neighboring communities wiped it out. The survivors relocated to this mountainside and rebuilt. They've been here ever since. The houses are painted yellow with mud coating, and there's a practical reason for that. Masuleh is foggy roughly a third of the year. The bright yellow walls make the buildings visible even when thick fog rolls through the village, which can happen at any time, any season. Construction materials are stone, clay, and wood from the surrounding forests. Most homes are 2 stories. The ground floor houses the kitchen. The upper floor has a small living room, bedroom, and balcony. A narrow internal staircase connects the 2 levels. The wide windows and open balconies aren't just decorative. In a climate this humid, air circulation is everything. About 800 people still live in Masuleh. The younger generation has mostly moved to cities like Rasht and Tehran, and many of the remaining residents are elderly, holding on to a way of life that's slowly fading. The local language is Taleshi, a language spoken by fewer than 1 million people along the western shores of the Caspian Sea. The older generation in particular holds on to this dialect fiercely. The village bazaar is the social heart of the community. Handicraft sellers display wool dolls, a specialty unique to Masuleh, alongside woven textiles and metalwork. Women run many of the shops. The restaurants serve Galani cuisine, heavy on herbs, rice, and fresh fish. Masuleh has become one of northern Iran's most visited villages, attracting tens of thousands of domestic tourists every year, especially during spring and summer when the fog lifts enough to reveal the stunning mountain views. For many Iranian families, a weekend trip to Masuleh is like visiting a living museum, a place where architecture, food, and language all belong to a different century. But the tourism is a double-edged blade. It keeps the economy alive, pays for maintenance on centuries-old buildings, and gives young people a reason to stay. But it also means more concrete guest houses, more souvenir shops, and the slow erosion of the very atmosphere that draws people in the first place. The residents of Masuleh have been navigating this tension for decades. So far, the village still feels genuine. The fog still rolls in uninvited. The rooftop streets still belong to the neighbors. And on quiet mornings before the tourists arrive, you can stand on someone's roof and look out at nothing but clouds below you, as if the entire mountain village is floating in the sky. So why doesn't the world know about these places? Part of it is politics. Iran's relationship with Western countries has made tourism difficult for decades. Visa restrictions, banking sanctions, and negative media coverage have kept international visitor numbers far below what a country with this much history should attract. Part of it is that Iran's cities are genuinely spectacular, and they absorb almost all the attention. Isfahan's Naqsh-e Jahan Square, Shiraz's Persepolis, Tehran's Bazaar. There's enough in the cities to fill a lifetime of documentaries. The villages get overlooked. But here's what the people who actually visit these villages always say. Every single travel account mentions the same thing. It's not the architecture that stays with you, although the architecture is extraordinary. It's the hospitality. Iranians in rural areas are legendary for their generosity toward guests. You'll be invited into homes for tea and food you didn't ask for, offered more than you could possibly eat, and treated less like a tourist and more like family. It's a cultural tradition rooted in ancient Persian values that predates Islam, and in the villages, it's practiced with an intensity that visitors describe as overwhelming. In Kandovan, families will show you around their 700-year-old rock homes and refuse to let you pay. In Meymand, the guest house owners will insist you try homemade grape syrup that's been prepared the same way for centuries. In Masuleh, shopkeepers will hand you samples of local honey and pastries and wave off your money with a smile. These villages are not theme parks. They're not experiences designed for consumption. They're real communities doing what they've always done, in places that have sheltered humans since before recorded history began. And that's exactly what makes them worth talking about. If this video changed the way you think about Iran, even a little, there's a video on screen right now that goes even deeper into a part of the world that doesn't get the coverage it deserves. Hit subscribe if you want more stories like this one. I'll see you in the next video.